Hello and welcome to Rolling with Reviews. I'm Will, and with me as always is the person who wants to sign you up for a monthly subscription.
Sarah.
And today we're doing a review of Extra Extra. Now if you want to see our two-player perspective and accessibility, check out our other video, Rolling with Two, Extra Extra. Sarah, tell us a bit about this game.
All right. Extra Extra is all about completing pages of a newspaper. Players place their reporters on the news that they want to publish, but they can be outbid by other players. Other worker placement spots include gaining copy and photo cuttings, hiring more reporters, and even selling news to raise capital. Whoever completes their pages first receives a bonus, but will that player have enough circulation points to win? All right, Will, so why did we get this?
We played a lot of Euro games, and I was looking for one that had a bit more theme or a very different theme than most Euro games. So when I saw this one back in the day, we put it on the list and we traded for a math trade and actually got a brand new copy.
Yes, we did.
So that's why.
So what do we like about the game?
It is a very different theme in a Euro vein.
Yeah, the whole making a newspaper and the chaos of the whole process is definitely well presented.
Yes.
That's about it, though.
Yes.
What we don't like about the game, the modularity of the rules is just confusing. So the rules itself will teach you everything from beginning to end as if you were playing with everything. But they tell you to pick a scenario. And the very first scenario tells you to ignore most things. But it doesn't make it easy for you to know which part of the rules you need to ignore when you're learning them for the first time.
Yeah, the funny thing is they have scenario cards with icons to help you set up the game. And you were taking a look at it, it's like, I can't make heads or tails. Fortunately, it's in the rules what these scenarios are.
Right. The rules in the back will give you, written out, everything you need to have and or ignore. But the cards are these tiny little icons where, especially if you're first playing, none of it makes any sense. And I think even after we learned how to play the game,
you took a look, it's like, nope, still don't make no sense.
Those are still useless cards. Yeah. Very useless. The other thing is this game is not good at two players. We cannot recommend it.
Yeah, the tension is lacking.
Yeah. So watch our other video, the two-player perspective and accessibility video, if you want to know in depth why this doesn't work at two players, but just blanket, we cannot recommend this game at two players.
Yeah, and blanket, it's missing the tension.
Yeah.
That's what
really is. And then lastly, if the rules weren't confusing, the board is also very confusing. It's just, there's so much graphicalness. It's just, there's a lot.
There are arrows.
There are arrows.
Of course, there are three boards where you have to follow the arrows going up and around and down and back to the other way and up again, over that way.
I think they could have made it much more user-friendly, like made the supposedly art parts of it maybe a little more muted. And so that the action spaces pop better, because that was the other thing that was confusing when you're first looking at it. You're like, where do I place my meeples? And then as you start to learn the rules, you're like, okay, this is a actual spot. Now, granted, once you see it, then it's like, it's obvious. But when you're first looking at it, it's like, it's just overwhelming.
Yeah, it was too much coming at you.
Yeah.
Because nothing was what I would call highlighted.
Yeah, nothing was distinct. It was all at the same strength visually.
Right.
And so because everything was going on and there were layers upon layers of things, then it just got, confusing.
Right.
Well, that's pretty much our opinion about the game. So who is this for?
I'd say for the people that like a dry Euro, but want a theme. Like, for example, like I'm big into trading in the Mediterranean type games because they like a dry theme. They like it where a lot of thought goes behind it, but they're tired of, being in the Mediterranean. They want to be in a newspaper office. This will give them a change of view.
That is very true. Also, we have to recommend this for higher players only.
Yes.
we assume it has to be better at higher player counts because it just does not work for 2 players.
Yeah, everything that the design points to is you do need people fighting over spaces, and that needs to that can only really happen at those higher player counts.
Yep.
Of course, I think it can go up to like 6.
I think so. I cannot remember.
Because it's based on each of the
I think so.
different news types.
Yeah, I think it does go up to 6. I think that's a 6 up there.
Which is kind of different for
That's
a
true.
Euro game.
There's not a lot of Euro games that go up to 6 players.
Right.
All right, let's move on to our ratings.
So for our ratings, we each have 1d6 worth of ratings to give. 1 is low, 6 is high. We give a number, a reason why, add them together, and see what it rolled for us. Sarah, what did extra roll for you?
It was extra bad, so it's a 1. I don't like it. It was not engaging. It was just terrible at 2 players. I don't even like the concept of being outbid, even though it didn't actually play any impact into a 2-player game. But that also means I'd never want to play this at higher player counts because I don't like bidding. I guess when we were looking into it, I didn't realize there was bidding aspects to it.
Yeah, and there kind of is and there kind of isn't.
I don't like competition for spots when if I get outbid, I can't actually do what I need to do.
Right.
It's just, I want to fail because I didn't choose the right thing, not because I couldn't choose the right thing, you know?
Well, you didn't need the money for anything else, so why not?
I guess. So, and then the rules are just convoluted. This needed the Taverns of Tiefenthal approach, which granted, Taverns of Tiefenthal came out way later, and there are people who complain then once you play Taverns with everything, it doesn't have a comprehensive rule. So Taverns
has a different problem.
Has a different problem where it gives you just the rules you need to play it at the first scenario or mode. And then it tells you, okay, you're going to add this next thing. So this is what you add to it. So it modulates it or makes it more modular. But then if you get to the point where you're playing with everything, you don't have a one comprehensive rule book. Mm-hmm. So, but I found that it was better for learning the game. And that's kind of what I think this needed.
Right.
So that's it. No, it's not for me.
Well, it's a little bit more for me.
Okay.
At a 2.
All right. Woo.
I give a 1 pip for each extra.
You go.
I can say the game is functional.
Yeah. Okay, it is functional. I'll agree with that.
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay. I still only give it a 1 for functional because a game should be more than just functional.
Okay, well, it's functional and it has a different theme.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
I will accept your 2.
I was hoping that the theme would liven up the dryness that I was finding in Euros. Now, I do like a dry Euro from time to time, especially when it requires a lot of thought. Mm-hmm. This seemed to take newspapers and made them more boring.
I think it didn't take the fun part of running a newspaper.
Right.
Even though the whole board is about all the different areas in a newspaper office, you're still only focused on making the newspaper page.
Yes.
If it had actually the layout, and
Yeah.
and if it was actually about managing circulation and more about managing staff, there was only a little bit with paying the meeples their salary.
Right.
But if there was more about running the business of a newspaper, I think that would have been more interesting.
Yeah, it's like taking this interesting profession and going, oh, are you excited? And you're like, yeah. And like, all right, your job is the bureaucracy behind it. And you're like, do I... Okay.
Honestly, they had a polyomino puzzle.
Yeah.
And this is the theme they came up with.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
It was a decent fit. It's just, I think you said it best after we had a play, and you're like, I wasn't motivated.
Yeah.
Just flat out, I wasn't motivated. Mm-mm. Putting things in a puzzle, yes, works as a puzzle. Mm-hmm. Yes, can work as a mechanic, but there was nothing exciting to do with it.
Yeah. Agreed.
So, yeah.
So, 3?
Three out of 12.
This one's going to be really hard to recommend, even for the people that it probably would be best for.
Yeah, but then again, maybe a lot of people don't like their games. So this is another one for you to pick up that other people won't like. And it's because you have very sophisticated tastes.
There you go.
So, yeah, because like I said, it works. It has some interesting concepts that I think, like Sarah was saying with Taverns of Titanfall, got polished a bit better.
Yeah.
And presented better.
Yes.
But, of course, doing that has its own problems.
Right, so, it does.
Yeah, played at its highest difficulty with as many people as possible. And, yeah, you might actually get something a lot better than a 3 rating.
Yes.
Out of this. But, unfortunately, we played 2 players. And that's where it is.
Yeah.
All right, Sarah. Now, since we're tackling newspapers, what would have been more exciting to do in Extra that it doesn't do?
Well, that's what I was thinking or saying earlier is circulation. Like, I mean, not to compare it to old video games, but what was it, Paperboy? Oh God, that was a long time ago. But more about, instead of making a newspaper page, I think it would be a very different game because it wouldn't be the polyomino puzzle, but more of I can't think of the words. It's running the circulation organization, and or being an actual paper boy might be more interesting.
Right. For me, I'm along the same lines. I think seeing your impact onto others is what the game is missing.
Oh. Yeah.
So, like your examples, like seeing the circulation, well, that's how it's affecting the subscribers.
Right.
Delivering papers, you're seeing how it's affecting the neighbors that are receiving the papers, especially when you smash a paper through the window.
Okay. Maybe the video game Paperboy was a bad example because that was always fun.
But it actually showed an impact, how your news affected people. This, you have none of that.
No.
This is how well do things fit on a page.
Yeah, and even the polyomino tiles are just lines and scribbles and maybe a picture, but it's not even an interesting story. Like, I think if this was redone now, someone would actually write like a sentence or something on the tile so that you could pick it up and it'd be like, cat runs up tree. Or something like, I mean, that was a pretty bad story. But
no, but something that makes the paper look more interesting, which is why a lot of games that we see that use an abstract puzzle try to use pieces that look as pretty as they do.
Right. This looks about as ugly as possible.
Yes.
So, yeah. There we go.
All right. And that's it for us. And we've been
Rolling with Reviews.
If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can reach out to us on the various social media platforms at
Rolling with Two. That's TWO. We're on Blue Sky, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. For Discord, we have a channel on Tabletop Express. Check the show notes for the invite link.
If you have time, check out the other content Nanaman has found for you, because remember, he's rolling with you.